Tonight, the future of Europe's industrial heartland hangs in the balance. Across the continent, the hum of factories is fading, and the uncertainty is palpable in cities built on generations of manufacturing might. High-level EU officials are in Beijing, locked in urgent talks, to convince China to ease its grip on rare earths and critical minerals. These resources are the lifeblood of modern industry, and the outcome of these negotiations could determine the fate of Europe's economic engine. Without these materials, Europe's automotive industry is grinding to a halt. Production lines that once symbolized progress now stand eerily still as the supply chain crisis deepens. This is about more than cars. It's about jobs, sovereignty, and Europe's ability to shape its own future. The livelihoods of millions are at stake, and the ripple effects could reach every corner of the continent. The crisis is real. German and French automakers have announced production slowdowns, citing shortages of neodymium and dysprosium, key for electric vehicle motors. These metals are essential for the next generation of clean transportation. Factory lights are dimming from Wolfsburg to Turin, and assembly lines have fallen silent. The silence is a stark reminder of how vulnerable Europe's industrial base has become. For millions of workers, these negotiations are a fight for their livelihoods. Families and communities that depend on these jobs are watching anxiously, hoping for a breakthrough. The EU's green transition depends on electric vehicles, but the assumption of easy access to components has collapsed. The dream of a sustainable future now faces a harsh reality check. China, the dominant supplier, is prioritizing its own EV market, leaving Europe scrambling. As Beijing tightens exports, European automakers are left searching for alternatives that may not exist. Brussels' plea is an admission of strategic failure. Europe outsourced its industrial base, and now the consequences are clear. The continent's dependence on foreign supply chains has never been more exposed. What happens in Beijing in the next 48 hours could shape Europe's economy for a decade. The clock is ticking, and every moment counts as negotiators search for common ground. A deal might buy time. Failure could trigger an industrial recession. Markets are on edge, and the world's financial centers are bracing for the fallout. As one EU diplomat put it, "We are no longer negotiating as equals, we are here to ask." The power dynamic has shifted, and Europe's vulnerability is on full display. The world is watching to see if Europe can pull its most vital industry back from the brink. The outcome will resonate far beyond the auto sector, affecting global trade and geopolitics. The stakes could not be higher. Europe's future, its prosperity, and its place in the world may well depend on what happens next. Inside Volkswagen's Zwickau plant, the silence is unsettling. Where once the hum of machinery filled the air, now there's only the echo of footsteps and the quiet murmur of anxious workers. The stillness is a stark contrast to the factory's usual rhythm, a daily dance of precision and progress. Once a symbol of Europe's electric future, the factory now stands still, conveyor belts halted, robotic arms frozen mid-motion. The promise of innovation and growth has been replaced by uncertainty and waiting. The culprit: a missing magnet or chip. Without it, a $50,000 car can't be finished. One tiny part, invisible to most, has brought the entire operation to a halt, highlighting just how fragile these complex systems can be. This scene repeats across Europe. From Germany to France, Italy to Spain, assembly lines are frozen, and the future feels suspended in time. Renault has put thousands on temporary leave. Skilled workers wait, uncertain if they'll have a full paycheck next month. The sense of security that once came with these jobs is slipping away. Maria, a single mother at Peugeot, says, "We come to work and wait. Sometimes we work frantically, then nothing. How can I plan for my children's future?" Her story is echoed by countless others, each facing the same impossible questions. The impact ripples outward. For every auto job, 3 to 4 more exist in the supply chain. Truck drivers, parts manufacturers, logistics teams, all are caught in the same web of uncertainty. Small suppliers, already on thin margins, now face bankruptcy as shutdowns drag on. For many, a single missed order can mean the difference between survival and closure. When giants like BMW halt production, the shock devastates smaller firms. The domino effect is swift and unforgiving, leaving little room for recovery. The human cost is mounting: financial strain, anxiety, and a loss of pride in Europe's flagship industry. Families gather at kitchen tables, worried about bills and the future. Factory towns are gripped by fear, local businesses suffer, and uncertainty clouds daily life. The ripple effect touches every corner, from grocery stores to schools. This is more than an industrial crisis, it's a social one. Communities that once thrived on steady work now face an uncertain tomorrow. The silent factories are a stark reminder. Global supply chains are about people, and right now, those people are paying the price. The machinery may be idle, but the human toll is growing every day. The future of entire communities hangs in the balance. Hopes and dreams are on hold, waiting for the lines to move again. The crisis is reshaping lives, not just balance sheets. It's rewriting the story of Europe's industrial heartland, one family at a time. Europe's industrial might is now a source of anxiety, not pride. The continent's reputation for reliability and strength is under threat. The stakes are personal, immediate, and profound. The world is watching, and the outcome will shape not just economies, but lives for years to come. What are rare earths? 17 metallic elements, not truly rare, but tough and costly to process. Neodymium, praseodymium, dysprosium, unfamiliar names but essential for EV motors, wind turbines, and smartphones. The issue isn't geology, but geopolitics. Western nations avoided the environmental costs of processing. China stepped in, accepting pollution for market dominance. Now, China controls 60% of mining and nearly 90% of processing and magnet manufacturing. This gives Beijing immense leverage. It can set prices, control supply, and decide who gets what. In 2010, China cut off rare earth exports to Japan, showing its power. For Europe, this dependency is a strategic trap. As EV demand soars, so does the need for rare earth magnets, up to 2 kilos per car. Europe's green ambitions now hinge on China's goodwill. The continent is realizing there may be no easy way out. Brussels is in crisis mode, with officials scrambling to secure critical resources. The delegation in Beijing is just one front. EU diplomats are also reaching out to Australia, Canada, and Kazakhstan. The message: a supply chain collapse hurts everyone, but Europe's leverage is fading as China's domestic market grows. Years of prioritizing free trade over resilience have left Europe exposed. The EU's Critical Raw Materials Act aims to boost domestic mining and recycling, but these are long-term fixes. The immediate goal: secure a short-term supply deal to keep factories running. China holds the cards and may demand concessions in tech or human rights. Europe is walking a diplomatic tightrope, trying to save its economy without sacrificing its values. The outcome will shape Europe's industrial future. The crisis doesn't end at the factory. It's hitting consumers hard, reaching all the way to the showroom floor. Families searching for a new car are met with empty lots and disappointment, while salespeople struggle to offer any solutions. Car dealerships across Europe have empty lots. Waiting lists for EVs stretch up to 18 months. For many, the dream of owning a new electric vehicle feels further away than ever before. Scarcity drives prices higher, wiping out government subsidies meant to make EVs affordable. Even with incentives, the final price tag is out of reach for most average buyers. The used car market is in chaos, with some models selling above their original price. Pre-owned vehicles, once a budget-friendly option, now come with premium price tags. Well-funded automakers can outbid smaller brands for scarce parts, making electric cars a luxury for the wealthy. The gap between who can and cannot afford an EV is growing wider. Smaller brands are squeezed out, threatening the goal of inclusive green mobility. Many local dealerships are forced to close, leaving communities with fewer choices. Trust is eroding. Consumers face delays, workers fear layoffs, and investors see a vulnerable industry. The uncertainty ripples through every level, from factory workers to boardrooms. The Made in Germany label now signals uncertainty, a stark contrast to its historic reputation for reliability and excellence. This loss of confidence may be the most damaging effect of all, undermining decades of trust in the European auto industry. The crisis is reshaping Europe's auto market and its reputation, forcing both consumers and companies to rethink their expectations and strategies. The green transition is at risk of becoming a privilege, not a right. If this trend continues, sustainable mobility may only be accessible to the wealthy. The ripple effects are deep and lasting, leaving a mark on the industry, the economy, and the future of mobility in Europe. This is more than an industrial crisis, it's a geopolitical turning point. China's control over rare earths and chips is a powerful tool, shaping global events to its advantage. The EU is now talking about strategic autonomy and building stockpiles of critical materials, much like oil reserves. But stockpiling is expensive, and EU members argue over who pays. Europe is also friendshoring, investing in mining in allied countries, but these projects take years. Meanwhile, China is consolidating its dominance, signing long-term deals across Africa and South America. The EU is scrambling to catch up, but time is short. Achieving true autonomy will require tough choices, big investments, and rare political unity. The global chess match for resources is on, and Europe is playing catch-up. Europe's industrial giants are fighting back with innovation. Car makers like BMW and Renault are developing motors that don't need rare earths, using copper coils instead. Recycling is booming. Companies are reclaiming rare earths from old EV batteries and motors. The EU is supporting the shift with funding and new regulations, aiming for a circular economy. Car makers are redesigning vehicles to use fewer, standardized parts and are moving away from just-in-time manufacturing. They're forging direct partnerships with miners and processors to secure supply. Public-private partnerships are funding new battery plants and chip research. The crisis has forced industry and government to innovate together, racing to end dependency. The rare earth crisis is compounded by a persistent semiconductor shortage. Modern cars need over 1,500 chips, many made in Taiwan and South Korea. The pandemic shifted chip production to consumer electronics, leaving automakers short. Some nearly finished cars sit idle for months, waiting for a single chip. Most advanced chips come from Taiwan, a geopolitical flashpoint. The EU's $43 billion CHIPS Act aims to double Europe's chip market share, but new fabs take years to build. The solution is long-term. Today's shortages remain. Europe's reliance on foreign chips mirrors its rare earth dependency, a vulnerability it can't ignore. Europe stands at a crossroads, forced to make tough choices. Achieving autonomy means restarting mining and processing at home, but this clashes with environmental goals and local opposition. The EU is split. Industrial powerhouses want rapid action, while others prioritize green standards. Consensus will require strict regulations and public buy-in. Citizens face higher prices now and will fund massive investments in resilient supply chains. Leaders must convince the public this is about long-term security, not just corporate bailouts. The crisis could spark renewal and innovation, or lead to protectionism and stagnation. Decisions made now will define Europe's industrial identity and its role in the world. This is about more than cars. It's about the foundation of Europe's 21st century economy. The future is being decided in real time.